the rewriting of the Bible, the difference of transliteration and translation, and to rewrite. All three of these are different things.
If overzealous monks want to change the Bible, can I explain to you what they would have had to do? 3 levels of conspiracy. Level number 1, they would have had to have a manuscript conspiracy. When we're talking about just the New Testament itself, there are over 6,000 manuscripts or portions of manuscripts for the New Testament itself. Now, that may not sound like a lot to you, but can I compare it to a couple of things? Julius Caesar's Gallic Wars. That's all we know about Julius Caesar and his conquest. We have around 10 manuscripts. Aristotle's Poetics. We have nearly 5 manuscripts. When it comes to the writings of Herodotus, we have less than 10 manuscripts. When it comes to the writings of Homer, less than 10 of each of his writings. When it comes to the New Testament, we have 6,000 manuscripts or portions of manuscripts for the New Testament. Folks, that's not even close. Well, you don't have the originals. No, we really don't. But guess what? We can get earlier than AD 120 with some of the copies that we have. When it comes to Julius Caesar's Gallic Wars, the earliest thing we can put our hands on was written 900 years after the original. But nobody's tearing down the walls in college because they're reading Caesar.
That's it. So y'all be careful out here with the terminology and the wording that you guys use. The Bible has not been rewritten. However, it has been transliterated and translated.
I'm a brand new creature because the old me done died. I'm new. I'm new.
What up, you guys, and welcome back to another teaching. I'm not going to be before you long. I promise you, okay? Just over this past week, I read a post in regards to the Bible, and it kind of irritates and frustrates me that we perish for the lack of knowledge, right? Oftentimes, people say this, right, what I'm about to get into, and it's just frustrating because it's like I want to believe that people say this out of ignorance. And you know, it's okay because, you know, some of us aren't aware and some of us just don't study to show thyself approved by God. The rewriting of the Bible. Okay, that's what we're going to get into here quickly. The talks about the Bible being rewritten over time and stuff like that. And so I wanted to get into the difference of transliteration and translation and to rewrite. All three of these are different things, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. Okay, first and foremost, by definition, to rewrite something is write something again so as to alter or improve it. Noun, an instance of writing something again so as to alter or improve it. Okay, now the difference in that is that the Bible has never, you heard me, has never been rewritten. Original text that they wrote on was stone,
most of whom remain until now. When you do the math, you realize that when 1 Corinthians was written, there were over 300 eyewitnesses, at least, of the resurrection of Jesus Christ who were still alive during that time. Oh, I hear you. You're well-educated people. You've heard the arguments. Yes, brother, I understand that, but you see what happened was there were individuals who came and doctored the Bible up, and it's been translated so many times, and it's been changed so many times. And when I talk to college students sometimes, they tell me about this myth of these overzealous monks who went out and changed the Bible so that things would match up, so that it would look like we have older documents than we actually have. And in fact, and I think they're really telling me something when they tell us, you know, we don't have any of the originals. Like I'm supposed to shake in my boots when they tell me that. Listen to me. If overzealous monks want to change the Bible, can I explain to you what they would have had to do? 3 levels of conspiracy. Level number 1, they would have had to have a manuscript conspiracy. When we're talking about just the New Testament itself, there are over 6,000 manuscripts or portions of manuscripts for the New Testament itself. Now, that may not sound like a lot to you, but can I compare it to a couple of things? Julius Caesar's Gallic Wars. That's all we know about Julius Caesar and his conquest. We have around 10 manuscripts. Aristotle's Poetics. We have nearly 5 manuscripts. When it comes to the writings of Herodotus, we have less than 10 manuscripts. When it comes to the writings of Homer, less than 10 of each of his writings. When it comes to the New Testament, we have 6,000 manuscripts or portions of manuscripts for the New Testament. Folks, that's not even close. Well, you don't have the originals. No, we really don't. But guess what? We can get earlier than AD 120 with some of the copies that we have. When it comes to Julius Caesar's Gallic Wars, the earliest thing we can put our hands on was written 900 years after the original. But nobody's tearing down the walls in college because they're reading Caesar. When it comes to Aristotle, the earliest thing we can put our hands on was written 1,400 years after the original. But when it comes to the New Testament, we can put our hands on documents that were written within decades of the originals. So if these overzealous monks wanted to doctor the Bible, what they would have to do is find over 6,000 manuscripts, change all of them, not show their ink work, get them all back where they stole them from, and never tell anybody what they did. That's just level number 1. Here's level number 2. Jesus said, go and make disciples of every people group. Funny thing about people groups, they tend to speak different languages. So within the first few centuries, we have the Bible translated into Syriac, Coptic, and Latin. So now these overzealous monks have to find 6,000 Greek manuscripts, change those, doctor them up, don't show your ink work, get them back, go find all the Syriac, Coptic, and Latin translations of those Greek manuscripts, change those to match the lies that you told in another language, and get those back where you stole them from. And that's just level number 2. Now you got level number 3. The early church fathers had this terrible habit of writing commentary on the New Testament. So much so that Bruce Metzger argues, if all we had of the New Testament was the quotations and citations by the early church fathers, we could reproduce over 95% of the New Testament just from their writings. So now these overzealous monks have to find 6,000 manuscripts and portions of manuscripts, steal them, change them, don't show your ink work, get it back without anybody finding out. They got to find Syriac, Coptic, and Latin translations, change those to match the lies that they told in the 6,000 manuscripts, get those back where they stole them from, and then find all of the writings of all of the early church fathers, change those to match the lies that they told 2 layers ago, get those put back, never tell anybody what they did, and never ever get caught. Help you if you believe that.
And other forms of paper, if you will, papyrus, the Dead Sea Scrolls and things of that nature, not the same as the paper of our days that we might know, that we can, ball up and stuff like that. Pretty hard to rewrite something like that. Now, what did take place with the Bible is a transliteration and translation of the Bible. Original text of the Hebrew Bible, or the Bible, was written in Greek, Biblical Aramaic, and then Biblical Hebrew. Okay, those are the original texts. And if you aren't Greek, Aramaic, or Hebrew, miss me with that, child. Miss me with it. And it's frustrating because people oftentimes use these terms and are very ignorant to what they're saying and really don't know their true history in regards to the Bible. Okay, so I wanted to get into the difference of, rewriting something, translating something, and transliteration. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, I'm telling you, Google is free and it's a click away. And not only that, the Bible, okay? Not for nothing. Translation is the process of converting the meaning of words or phrases from one language to another. Transliteration is the process of converting text from one script to another. Okay, now here is the difference between translation and transliteration. Okay, for example, translation is the resulting content, and it should match the original meaning. Okay, so in translation, the content is not being lost. So just because the Bible is being translated into English or any other kind of language, the content is still the same. That's not going to change just because it's been Americanized. But let's continue. The goal of translation is to provide information in another language. That's it. That's just like when you go to the restaurants and you get the menu and it's Spanish and they bring you out an English menu. It didn't change the menu at all, the context that lied on it. It's just available now for you to be able to read and comprehend. Now, transliteration does not carry across any of the contextual meaning between languages. Transliteration is faster than translation because you don't need to convert the language from one script to another. Now, in the Bible, transliteration is the process of transcribing a word from one alphabet into the corresponding letters of another alphabet. Okay, now transliteration can affect how the text is understood, but the content remains the same. So, for example, the Hebrew word Satan can be transliterated as Satan. To rewrite is to rescript, revisual, revise, revision. The act of rewriting something, recasting, rephrasing, rewording, changing a particular word or phrase, paraphrase or paraphrases. Okay, and that's just not. It's not factual. Just because people get the Bible and they translate it or they do a different form of King James Version, it does not take away from the content. And if it does, it is not Bible, and that's on period, right? It's not supposed to change the content in which it lies. Okay, so the Bible over time has been translated and transliterated. Okay, Never has the Bible been rewritten. You can't show me where it has been rewritten. And if it has been, it's not the Bible. It's not the original Bible, right? The earliest translations of the Hebrew Bible is the Old Greek, which is OG, right? The translation made in Alexandria, Egypt, for the use of the Greek speaking Jewish community there. Now, at first, just the Torah was translated in the 3rd century BCE. The rest of the biblical books were translated later. That's it. So, y'all be careful out here with the terminology and the wording that you guys use. The Bible has not been rewritten. However, it has been transliterated and translated. God bless you. Hey, what's up? Whitney D here. Now, if you like that video, make sure that you leave a comment, you like the video, and you share it. Sharing is caring, okay? And I will see you guys on the next video. But until then, make sure you connect with me on all my social medias. Until next time, God bless.
Everybody's scared when they in the booth, but I'll take on the persecution for the truth.